Testing, testing.
Okay. Okay. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Good afternoon. This is the HackGT 8 organizer panel, and these members are team members of HackGT or Hex Labs, and I will be the moderator today, Trinity. So, hello, and if the Hex Labs members can all introduce themselves and their roles.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly. I'm part of the executive team of Hex Labs, and I'm the director of design.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nicholas. I am part of tech team, and I'm just a regular member working on the tech prices. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm on marketing. I'm a marketing team member, surprisingly enough. I work on sponsorship.
What's up, guys? My name is Caitlin. I am on the operations team, and I do a lot of things.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elton. I'm the co-director of the org. Yeah, so I help a lot with the things the org does. Yeah, nice to see y'all.
Hey guys, I'm Jason. Guess I'm an associate member technically, but I've been part of Hex Labs. Used to be called HackGT. I joined in 2017, so I've been here for a while.
Cool. Thank you. So if we could have some people do a brief discussion on how they were introduced to HackGT/Hex Labs. So.
Okay. How was I introduced to HackGT and Hex Labs? I think as like a first year, there was always like the org fair that's happening in the fall. And so at least for me personally, when I was looking around the different organizations, there was a table with a bunch of free shirts and a bunch of free stickers. And I said, wow, can I have a free shirt? Can I have a free sticker? And that's kind of how the conversation started. And then afterwards, I was kind of like, what do you guys do? Can I be a part of this? And then that same fall as the first year, I attended HackGT 5. And then since then, I've been kind of involved in the organization. That's how I was first introduced to HackGT.
Okay, I think for me, I was first introduced to this by sort of the same means, like going to freshman fairs and just seeing like all the organizations here. But also I had some friends who were also part of the organization, so they sort of like reeled me in to participate in the different events and things like that. And yeah, it's been pretty fun. I joined back in May of 2021, so this year it's been fun, like 6 months organizing HackGT. Very hectic too. But yeah, that's how I got introduced to HackGT and sort of like Hex Labs, which is the new rebranding. Yeah.
I have a slightly different experience, I guess. I did hackathons in high school, or I looked at organizing and stuff like that. And when I went to college, I knew kind of, oh yeah, I probably should try to see at least what's up with HackGT. So I kind of was interested. I went to the first event or last year's virtual event, and I joined through. I mean, I kind of met people through organizer panel, and I joined through that.
I also kind of have a different story, but like, so I went to HackGT 7 my freshman year, and I realized that I was not a CS major. I did not enjoy coding, but what I did really like was the event as a whole. I felt like it was really well organized, and I wanted to kind of be a part of that. So I applied my sophomore year, and I joined. So event organization is a lot more fun than it seems, or than you'd think.
For me, so I remember right before coming to Tech, I received an email. I don't know from whom, probably Georgia Tech, but it had like, what do you call that stuff? A testimony of HackGT, right? So some participant described their experience at HackGT. Thought this was a cool event. So when I came to Tech, yeah, I thought I'd apply, and HackGT 5 was the first hackathon I've been to. I applied as a CompP major, so I was not a CS major, but then I decided to switch after HackGT to CS because I sort of figured that I like solving interesting problems that are not tied to the physicalities of the world. So yeah, that's my first experience.
Yeah, so I guess when I came into tech, I was an ID major. You guys probably not, but we got one over there, you know. Yeah, so as a freshman ID major, you spend a lot of late nights in the studio, and so one day I didn't want to go back to my dorm, so I was just walking around campus, and I stumbled upon Klaus, and that was HackGT4 New Heights, and so, I was like, wow, it has, similar to what we have. They didn't do as many decorations as we do, but still the vibe is the same. A lot of insane people trying to build cool stuff, and I felt like that was something I wanted to be a part of.
So I know that some of you touched on your roles briefly in the organization, but if some of you, because I know some of you are directors, want to explain a bit more in depth about what exactly you do for the organization and what your niche is, I suppose, then please feel free.
My role. Okay. So I guess in case you guys forgot, I'm the director of design for Hex Labs, and so there are a couple things that I do in addition to just managing my design team. Shout out to my design team. But I guess like my first and foremost, my core responsibility is to manage my team of designers, and they are responsible for producing the marketing, like materials, kind of like designing those. They're also responsible for the UI UX of all the products that we create as an organization that you use as participants. And then we're also responsible for all the decor and all the physical decorations that you see as part of the event. And so my responsibility is in managing that team of designers, helping to encourage them to create really cool things, and also helping to manage their timelines and what exactly they have to do as part of this organization, making sure they get their work done, and then encouraging them to do the things that they enjoy, and helping to be conducive to that creative process. In addition to managing that team of designers, I'm also responsible for managing another group, which is called Build Crew. So when you first walked into Klaus yesterday night, you may have noticed, maybe notice all like the lights and all the structures that you saw on all the booths. I'm also in charge of the Build Crew, who's the team responsible for like making all of those physical structures, putting them up, Friday morning, and then I guess planning out, what is the best way of decorating the Klaus atrium space using, large physical structures. So I'm also involved with that team. And then I guess aside from that, I guess help to make sure that kind of like alongside just theming the event and all those kind of more like visual features. I'm also responsible for thinking about like how can we improve the UI UX of our tech projects. So I also work a lot with like tech team in order to figure out like, you know, what type of projects can we do and how can we better improve the user experience of those things. But yeah, that's my role as director of design. So yeah.
Okay, now I'll add the perspective of a regular member. I'm not a director, I'm not like anything else. I'm just a regular sort of like tech team member since I joined very recently. So as a regular member, you can sort of expect, at least for tech team, to be placed in a project. And in that project, you work in many of the different applications that we have. There's a lot of sort of like custom things that we have, like the prices and the live sites, and registration, check-in, like many like different sort of like custom apps made by HackGT. So it's a great way to sort of like get also more programming experience, also some more projects. So I got placed in the prices team. So all of the prices sort of like interface and the different prices that you see were sort of coordinated by us, by the team. And apart from that, I'm also involved in some other initiatives related to hype. So sort of like hyping up the event. If you ever saw the different stories, different things that were put out there to just promote the event, that's also something that I did as part of the team. And yeah, and then also probably working soon on the spring events on different committees. And yeah, that's what you can probably expect as a regular member. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on marketing, or just marketing team member. I said I worked on sponsorship earlier. That's not entirely true. I work on sponsorship, but I also work on communications. That's kind of the marketing split. Over the spring, I worked on Catalyst, which was, I did marketing for that. So that involved writing stuff for Facebook or like social media feeds, and also working on raising money for HackGT. We also reached out to judges, we reached out to sponsors as we have a radio, to contact sponsors and contact judges and contact speakers, and we get all that together. There's a couple committees that the marketing team members tend to join, which involve mostly reaching out to people and making sure that we get cool people to come to our event, whether it's, again, sponsors, people, or speakers.
Okay, so it's the clap. I'm sorry. I won't take away your applause. Okay, so it's kind of fitting that I'm fourth because you've heard from design, tech, and marketing, and the joke is that ops does everything else. So as operations, we essentially, it boils down to event logistics. We do everything from, we will organize judges even though they reach out to them. We organize volunteers. We do like the schedule for the entire day. We do the layouts. We rent the buildings. Basically anything that any other team can't cover kind of falls onto us. And we work very closely with every other team because usually all of our assignments are entangled with them. And the way that we do that is we kind of break off into groups of 2 or 3, and you'll have, depending on like the workload that you're able to take, you'll have anywhere from like 3 to maybe like 6 tasks that you're working on at a time. So for me, I was working with 2 other people to do food. I also did the layout, and for my subcommittee, I also was on build team, which was fun. So yeah, that's ops. We kind of do a lot.
Yeah, so as co-director, I feel like a lot of my work is people management related things and thinking about the vision of the org. So during our exec meetings, at least before planning HackGT, we had a lot of discussions about what the high level vision of the org should be, what things we should pursue in the future, and how we can set up the org so that other people can sort of build and grow and continue to I don't know what the correct word for that is, but disseminate our vision, I guess, people. Yeah. And so prior to becoming co-director, I was a tech team member. So I'm quite familiar with the tech. So I help our tech director out sometimes because there are a lot of products and it can get quite messy sometimes. Anything else? No, I think that's pretty much it. Also, I guess there's another co-director. Her name is Sachi. She's very familiar with ops and the marketing side of things. So she helps a lot with that. So that's how we kind of split the role. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Jason. I'm on design team. Yeah. I guess so. About some of my experience, I think being on design is especially really cool at HackGT because it's like one of the only opportunities as a student you actually get to design things that are used by real people at scale. Like we design shirts. Shirts are worn by thousands of people. We design websites. Those websites are seen by all you participants, mentors, and sponsors. Stickers. You see them on water bottles. So it's a really cool way for us to, get the experience of actually designing things for the world. Not just something, for fun or for your personal portfolio. But yeah, HackGT, designers, we work on everything. We work on traditional graphic design, like marketing assets, Instagram posts, websites, stuff like that. We also work on our tech products as well, recently now. So it's like AppGT, kind of like check-in, stuff like that. That's some stuff we're trying to get more into as we progress through the years. Yeah, I think being on design is pretty cool. We get to work with a lot of different teams. We're not just alone in our silo. We have to work with tech when we work on any type of products and UX stuff. We have to work with marketing for website stuff and social Instagram posts, that type of deal. So it's a pretty cool cross-functional role.
So I'm sure that we've been tossing around the words HackGT and Hex Labs around for the past 2 or so days. Also, I suppose leading up to the actual event HackGT, can someone please explain the difference between HackGT and Hex Labs? And what is all this change happening?
Okay. Let's see, what's the most simple way of putting this? Hex Labs is the name of the whole organization, and that also includes all the people who are underneath it. And then HackGT is one of the events that is run by the parent org, Hex Labs. And so Hex Labs, I think also the reason kind of why we rebranded to this parent organization is because we're more than just HackGT. We also run a lot of other events on campus. You may have seen Catalyst, which is our day of learning event for high school students in the Metro Atlanta area. We also throw Horizons, which is our arts and tech makeathon. We've also held Health Tech, which is our health and tech hackathon. We've had Build GT, our building engineering based hackathon. And we had more recently Prototypical, which is like a cardboard prototyping event. So Hex Labs is the parent organization, which encompasses all of these many, many, many events. And HackGT is just one of those awesome events that we run.
And now that we know what Hex Labs exactly is, does someone want to, I guess, explain what the mission of Hex Lab is?
So the whole reason why we wanted to rebrand is we feel that our role in the Georgia Tech community and beyond is to cultivate innovators. So we want people to collaborate and build amazing things. So the hackathon, like HackGT, is one way through which we try to do that. But as Kimberly mentioned, we have a lot of other initiatives that aim to generate the next group of innovators at tech and in the country. So our whole vision for Hex Labs is to cultivate spaces in which people can sort of collaborate and grow together. So that includes being more accessible to beginners so that they don't feel like they're being left out, but it also includes catering to advanced hackers so that they feel that their work is being valued in the community and that they have a place within which they can showcase their work. For example, at HackGT, we give you all a lot of resources in the form of hardware. We give you access to sponsors in which you can sort of present your work and get prizes for it. We've been thinking of switching away from the format of hackathons in the future and probably do a more conference-style event so that we can attract diverse groups of people. But the whole vision, I guess, is to ensure that we have a good community of people that are supporting each other to grow and learn together and make cool things. Yeah.
that we've discussed your roles, is there one product that you worked on for HackGT8 that you want to talk about that you're proud of maybe, or was very challenging to work on?
You want to do it?
Okay. Yeah. So I know I just talked a lot about like designing websites and products, but actually my role as an associate this semester was a large part of build crew actually. So I'm not if you guys spent any time in the atrium, but you saw that like huge, standing structure right in the middle. That's all build crew. That was something I was very involved with. You also saw that huge mural in the background. That's something that actually our two amazing designers here, Isabella and Kalina, took lead on that. Yeah, they sketched it out and painted. So I was just helping them do their thing. Most of my role this semester has been like supporting our designers on our team in order to let them do the best work that they can do. Yeah.
Anyone else want to go?
Okay, so we previously talked about rebranding. So one of the things that I worked on was like a rebranding display or like a rebranding booth that is also in the atrium. And it was a lot of fun because I was able to pull together a bunch of old swag and stickers and badges from previous events and put them on display so you can see them all at once. And the poster that Kimberly also helped me with has like the first iteration of every event that we've ever hosted on display so that you can kind of see like the growth that we've gone through and like visually understand why we decided to rebrand. So that was a lot of fun. No? Okay.
In that case, can someone talk about a challenge that they've had either this year for either this year's hackathon or previous semesters as a Hex Labs / HackGT member?
A challenge. Do you want to go?
Sure. For marketing, challenges are usually related to reaching out to more people. With the in-person or like the kind of hybrid model, we wanted to support like in-person people and hybrid people. That was a big challenge in terms of like marketing. How do we deal with people and sort out the logistics with ops and with everyone else with how we are actually going to be supporting everyone. In terms of like sponsorship, of course, raising money is always a major challenge. For me personally, it's like just sending out many emails. We contact like hundreds, thousands of companies every year, and that is a lot of companies. Everyone has to send out a lot of emails, and I think that's pretty challenging.
From the tech team side of things, I think that it may be a little predictable as to what the challenge may be. I mean, of course, when you're building things, they usually break. So as many of you all may have experienced during this hackathon, things sometimes don't work. Things sometimes they may have bugs in them. You need to sort of like go in and fix things. So I think in general, that's been the biggest challenge of just sort of like dealing with the code and everything. It's just, you know what you want to do, but like, sometimes you run into difficulties doing it. And yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward, but yes, that's the main challenge.
For me, I think as both a designer and also a director for design, simply put, the hardest challenge that I've kind of faced is understanding when to say yes and no to certain things. And I can elaborate a little bit more on that very vague response. I suppose that all of the times, especially as a designer, there are so many possibilities about what I can pursue and what my team should pursue as well. Should we go for this design over that one? Is this iteration better than another? Should we include this features in this, user interface? And, there are many times which we have discussions about whether we should implement this or that. And a lot of the times it comes down to understanding, what do our participants want? What would they enjoy the most? What would give the best experience to them? And then also understanding like what are the limitations of our team? Can our team produce like a bajillion of these designs in time for the event, or should we scale it down a little bit? And so a lot of the I guess challenges I face, especially as a director, is making those calls like, yes, let's choose this, or no, let's try something else so that we can have time to dedicate to another feature. Currently the atrium has so many of these designs and like these structures that are built out. But there are also tons of decisions that my team had to make together, and me kind of like finalizing those decisions about like, okay, we can only do so much. So let's just stick to this main thing, or let's do this or that. And so a lot of the challenges that I face is making sure my team and I know when to make those right decisions, and choosing a design over another at the sake of another. But I think it's a very fun and exhilarating challenge of understanding like what is the best design for everyone's sake. So yeah.
I feel for us as a team, as we're all aware, for the past year or so, we've been virtual. And so that has been a real challenge, I feel, because when you're virtual, it's really hard to manage a team because you're not actually physically seeing them from week to week. And that sort of reduces your connection with the other members in the org. And so for the past year, we're struggling, or struggling is probably a bad word, but we found it really difficult to sort of maintain the engagement levels and ensure that people are still motivated to work on HackGT and Hex Labs. So the mission and the vision are like all really exciting, but then we are social creatures and we want to meet and interact and collaborate. And so it's really difficult to do it virtually. Another challenge is this year, this is the first time we're doing a hybrid event. So catering to both virtual participants and in-person participants can be a difficult thing to deal with, because there are a lot of choices that you need to make and a lot of trade-offs involved with that. So I feel that has been the biggest challenge.
So now that we've talked about challenges for you, do some people want to talk about a memorable moment that they've experienced as a Hex Labs member, either during this current hackathon or in its planning stages or previous ones?
So for me, it's not just this HackGT, but every HackGT that I've organized. The best moment is right after opening ceremonies and all the hackers are excited about being here. The moment when they all just come rushing through into the atrium and you see them start talking to sponsors, talking to each other. I think that's always a special moment for me, because as organizers, we work on this thing for like half a year. We have like most of it, we have really no idea what we're doing, honestly. If we're being completely honest, we're like, we hope this works, we hope that, they'll enjoy these things, that you guys will enjoy our theme this year. We guys hope that protecting, we hope our products work and are functioning. For marketing, they're always like, oh shit, do we get enough money? Do we have the sponsors we need? Are our sponsors cool enough? So all the teams are just, trying their best to, deliver an amazing experience to all the hackers, participants, right? And so, at least for me, that first moment when all of you guys come into the atrium and you just see everyone come in, they're talking to each other, talking to sponsors. It's like, this is all worth it. All this hard work we've put in this past half year, it's all worth it.
So for me, I actually joined at the very beginning of this year, so January 2021. And the most memorable moment for me was my first in-person meeting, because I started completely virtual. And like Elton said, it was really hard to be disconnected from everyone. And people don't turn their cameras on. I'm sure you've experienced that in your classes. They don't do it in Hex Labs either. So when I went to my first in-person meeting, I finally saw the faces of all the people that I had been talking to. And it was like, oh, wow, I'm actually part of an organization with like real people that exist and work with me. So honestly, like that's probably my most memorable moment. And I do enjoy going to those meetings every week, even if it means I have to do work. It also means that I get to see people that I enjoy being around. So.
Pretty similar to Jason's. When I was stuck at Klaus for most of Friday, from like 10 a.m. and at around like the 5 p.m. mark, when things were starting to wind down, I go walk outside towards the Kulk and I see this just massive line that stretches so far into the distance. I can't see the end of it, and that was pretty exciting to me. I think that's the moment where I was like, wait a sec. That's a lot of people that are going to come to an event and rely on us to provide a good experience. Pretty scary, but also, pretty really exciting. I think that's definitely one of the most memorable moments I've had.
I think for me, it's sort of related to what the first panelist said. I think for me, the most memorable thing is just seeing people attend the event and obviously learn a lot. I really like, or I'm very passionate about teaching. Some of you may have maybe met me. I was also a TA for 1331. So from that experience, because this was before I sort of joined the organization, that's also kind of part of one of the reasons why I decided to join. It was because I feel like hackathons are also more of like creating a very sort of like inclusive environment where everybody can just learn about different things and just sort of expand their experience. So just seeing the event also come to a reality and seeing that people are gaining experience through different workshops and through just working on their projects, I think that is very rewarding, and I think that's also very, very memorable.
Okay. I'll cheat this question a little bit and name like two things. One more related to my experiences as like a normal designer, as a member of design team, and then one more closely related to me being a current director of design. So for the first one, I think one of the most memorable moments I had as a design team member was that at HackGT 6, I had designed stickers for the event for the first time. And so I was just chilling with some of my friends who also attended their first hackathon at HackGT 6 that first time. And my friend, he had just gotten a brand new laptop. There were no stickers on it. And for several months already, he hadn't put any stickers on. But he had, taken some stickers from the swag table. And then his very first and only sticker that he still had to this day is one of the stickers that I designed. And he was really excited about putting that sticker on his laptop. But to me, it was a really incredible moment that I had been a part of someone's excitement and joy that they get to look at every single day when they use their laptop. And it kind of goes back to like what Jason said earlier about how being on the design team of Hex Labs is so unique because the work that you do is something that people see and people use often. And it's really great and touching to be able to realize that the work that you create actively, improves someone's experience or gives them a little bit joy in their life. And so I think that's something really powerful, that knowing that as a designer, I can have a little bit of that impact in someone's heart. Secondly, I think that a really memorable experience that I've had as the director of design has been helping or just working alongside my team. Every time a member of my design team finishes an asset, they're like, oh, I finished this marketing post. Or, we finish making the murals together. We finish painting. Or someone designs a shirt, they finish that. Or someone, finishes creating a mock-up to a particular, user interface that they made. I'm always very thrilled and excited to see the skills and talents of my designers blossom. They're so talented. And, I've been with them since day one. I interview them, I recruit them to my team, and I say to myself, what can I do to help make sure that these people grow and are able to have a little bit of fun in their lives in this organization. So seeing their work come to life and seeing them have a little bit of pride in the stuff that they do, I think that's a really touching and really powerful thing to me, especially as their director.
Sure. No, I'm good.
So now that we've talked about the present and the past of HackGT and Hex Labs, we're going to talk about the future. So what do you hope for the future of Hex Labs as an organization and also its other projects and also HackGT?
Yeah, so as I sort of hinted when talking about the vision for Hex Labs, in the future, I hope that we attract a lot more hackers from around the world, not just the USA. We started getting international participants because we opened it to be a virtual event, but I want a lot more people to access the opportunity that we're giving them to hack on something over a weekend. I feel like that's a good time to prototype and just work on an interesting problem that you've been putting off due to school or other obligations. Um, so yeah, in the future, I hope for a lot more people to attend and make good use of the event. I also want, well, this is my personal thing, but I want a lot more open source sort of representation within hackathons. I feel like they don't receive a lot of love because they don't get paid most of the time. So yeah, I feel like they're working on a lot of cool stuff, like a lot of production technologies that you use daily. They depend on open source projects, and those people who are maintaining the projects need some funding. Most of them are still working on like projects out of their free time. And I don't know, personally, I feel a lot more connected with open source because I sort of found a nice community of people to interact with and sort of learn and grow together. So I highly encourage all of you to, if you haven't already, try to look up an interesting project, pick an issue and try to work on it. You'll learn a lot along the process, and you'll make new friends as well, even though they're virtual friends. You'll make new friends and learn a lot, and you'll be able to geek about it in your resume. So, yeah. Anyone else?
In terms of the future for HackGT specifically, well, I always had a personal dream of mine was I wanted to be part of the best hackathon in the world. I wanted to run something that would make people say, "Oh, wow, this is a hackathon that makes me want to come here and build something that is really incredible and just so cool." Just because the event itself is that inspiring and that exciting to me, and I think that is the goal that I would like to see HackGT one day get to be, even though it's a little implausible, but we can try our best.
Yeah, so I think I have I guess a kind of unique perspective maybe on this because, as you get older, you become like a second, third, fourth year. You you become exec or you graduate. I think I'm kind of unique because I didn't really do either of those two things yet. Yeah, I probably will never be exec, but I'm kind of like the old man, grandpa of my team. Yeah, but to me, like Alton already talked about a lot of the high level, big picture ideas of what our organization does. We want to create real impact for real people, students everywhere. We want to create these spaces where they can explore their ideas freely. But, for me, like, honestly, it's just always about the people, I want to do fun things with fun people. If we can, accomplish those goals and accomplish that ambition, that's great. But for me, it's just, throwing these events and meeting people, working together with people, almost dying with people because we sleep deprivation and fires that we always have to put out. I don't know, those things were, it kind of sucks while we're going through it, but in the end you look back and you're like, actually I feel like I would miss this after I leave.
Memorable experience.
Yeah, it's definitely a memorable experience for sure. And what do I hope for HackGT? I hope that, whatever name, Hex Labs, HackGT, whatever new octagonal shape we might choose in the future. I hope that, there's still that same group of people who, could be 70 people, could be 10, could be scaled up to 200 members, Hopefully there's still like a group of students out there that still believe that it's worth to hold these events for people, bring people together, and have a fun experience. I think, at least for me, that's what I hope for the future of Hex Labs.
I think for Hex Labs, there are two, I guess, hopes that I have for its future. First and foremost, I really want to continue encouraging this spirit of making and this excitement for creating things. I think that a lot of the motivations that many of us may have for creating or making may come from, the need to get an internship or, succeeding in your classes, which are both perfectly fine reasons for creating. But at the same time, there's always something exciting about seeing something that you created with your own hands come to life. Your code compiles, the lights start flickering on your breadboard, something that you created comes to life and it works. It's so exhilarating. And I think that as an organization, we're not necessarily focused on people always getting the job or, getting the grade. It's also about making people just excited to create things and, being able to create that impact for themselves or for other people, right? And so my hope is that, our organization continues embracing that excitement and that experience for people to create things and make it come to life. And then my second hope is that our organization also begins to embrace a little bit more about creating in not just traditional computer science areas. And we've seen this over the years, especially through our more interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary events like Health Tech and Horizons, and more recently Prototypical. I think that it's really exciting that many of us are computer science majors or more computational type of majors, and we're able to, form this community and make great things using our computers. But I think that, a similar community or similar type of excitement can also be transferable to other majors. Maybe not necessarily the same type of format, but I think that the community that we form and the type of large scale events that we have is something that, should be shared with other people outside of just computer science. I think it's so cool that so many people get to spend a full weekend with each other just making cool things that they really are excited about. And, why shouldn't everyone else be a part of that excitement?
So before we open up the floor to questions from the audience, does anyone want to say anything else? Any last words? No? No? Nothing? Okay. Are you sure? Okay. In that case, we will now open it up to audience Q&A. If anyone sitting here or online wants to ask questions to our panelists, please feel free. Don't be shy. Yes.
How did you decide on your theming this year?
Ooh, that'd be some.
That's a good question.
Okay, so there was a quite elaborate process for how we chose the theme, to be exact. Not to bore you with the details, but whenever we choose a theme for HackGT, it is very much a collaborative process, and not just within design team, but also for the whole Hex Labs team itself. But first and foremost, the process of theming starts with our team. And so our team kind of sits together. We spend a lot of hours and go through many processes to think about, what type of theme do we want and what type of message do we want to share, but also what type of, visuals and what type of theme would our participants also enjoy, and what type of ambiance and atmosphere does the theme that we want to propose create at our event. And so those are just three of some of the many factors that we consider when we think about, what type of theme should we pursue. And so this year, I think a couple of our designers, had this idea about having a night market, and they worked on it together, and then we expanded it. The rest of the team also began to collaborate from within the design team. And then after we kind of figure out the details of that, we also propose it to the rest of the team, hear their insights, and then all the Hex Labs team comes together and thinks about, okay, what type of theme do we want to pursue? And is this the right choice for HackGT? And so that's kind of how we chose on, the night market theme for HackGT 8.
Does anyone else in person have any questions? No? Okay, well, we did have a person asking virtually 2 questions. The first was how to get into the team, and the second was what skills do you need to have to get into the team, which is a perfect chance to go into QR code.
What is this?
Oh.
thing?
Okay. Step where? Oh no, I don't want to stand in front of you guys. No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so I'm Sachi. I'm one of the co-directors of Hex Labs. I was gonna come be on the organizer panel, and then a lot of things happened, so I didn't. But we have a QR code to apply to be on the Hex Labs team. You can apply to any of the sub teams. It's a pretty straightforward application. So I trust that you guys can figure that out. But I want to say applications are due on November 5th. We will be taking applications starting now for the next 2 weeks. There's an interview after the application, so we send out interview invitations. You'll be interviewed by by the sub team director of the next year's exec board. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll also be appointing our next exec board. And then I think we let people know right around Thanksgiving break. So that's kind of the process for the recruitment timeline. Like I said, you can apply to any of the 4 sub teams. I'm not sure if y'all talked about Catalyst at all. Okay, so as we expand to Hex Labs and we are kind of creating more of an identity for our events outside of just HackGT, we are hoping to expand some of our other events. One of those is Catalyst. It is a learnathon for high school students in the Metro Atlanta area. You'll see it referenced on the application. We're hoping to devote more resources to that event year round. So this is like the question on the application is not binding in any sense, but we are trying to get a sense of if people would be interested in working on that year round as well as, or separately from HackGT, but still kind of working in collaboration. So just letting you know that that's on there. And then in terms of skills you need to have, there are descriptions of each of the sub teams. But if some of y'all want to talk about the skills from your sub team, I can like pass it. Okay.
Yeah, marketing. We write a lot of stuff. We write a lot of emails. We write a lot of social media posts. You don't have to be good at writing because you'll learn how to write, but you just have to be able to write a lot, have the endurance.
Okay, so for operations, you should generally just kind of be organized. You can be organized in your own way, but we do have a way that we organize things as Hex Labs. You have to be able to kind of balance responsibilities because you won't only be assigned to one thing. And you have to be able to kind of adapt to whatever you're assigned and make decisions for the most part on your own, but still know that you have your co-directors to fall back on if you don't know what to do. Because you will be put into situations with caterers, with judges, with mentors, with all these other people, and you will have to be able to make a decision for whatever event that you're working on and be confident in it and communicate that clearly with your team.
For tech team, well, of course, you need to have like some sort of like basic experience coding. Most of our apps are web applications. So obviously having some familiarity with that would be helpful, but you don't really have to. I've met a lot of people that have come in just having sort of like basic coding experience. Of course, through classes, most of them are CS majors, as you may imagine. But yes, if you don't have sort of like, if you're not like super good at like web development, like don't worry, like don't be discouraged from applying. You can still definitely apply. And then they'll just give you the necessary resources to sort of ramp up to the projects, ramp up to the different tech stacks that we use. But yes, I would say that, the only fundamental skill is just understand coding in some way or just have some basic experience through anything, basically.
Wait 1 second. This might be a question for Elton. But are there any opportunities for tech team outside of web development?
Yeah, so I feel one thing I'd like to add is in addition to coding skills, I feel like you must have some sort of a desire to solve interesting problems, because a lot of those things come up when you write a lot of the apps. For example, one problem that I think is quite interesting is, let's say you have like multiple people who are trying to hit a server and you're trying to maintain a queue. So your job is to make sure that the queue is consistent. And I guess as people make requests, you want to make sure that the queue represents the order in which people make requests. So that is a challenging problem, but it's an interesting one to work through. You guys can try solving it on your own when you get back home or for the hackathon. But yeah, I feel like it's these sorts of things that you need to think about. Well, there is a lot of coding involved, but I feel like you have to spend more time doing the design first and thinking through all of the different edge cases. So if you enjoy thinking through different design choices and making trade-offs and well, I won't say not sleeping, but you might have to pull an all-nighter, but you can try not to do it if you manage your time well, which is tough. It's difficult. But yeah, going back to the original question about web development. So web development isn't the only thing we do. We also do data science. So we have a couple of projects that are machine learning oriented. So you can help work on that and make it better. Another thing that we're trying to introduce next year is product management. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can apply to that role. Let's see, what else? DevOps. So a lot of our code is hosted through Google Cloud. And Google Cloud isn't the most intuitive thing to use because Google wants you to keep using the app and keep making money out of it. So yeah, that's real. That's society. But so yeah, so we need people who are comfortable or want to learn how to do DevOps correctly. A lot of the issues that you may have faced during the event, like things not working, the website isn't opening, you can't join the Discord, those sorts of things are caused because we don't know how to use the cluster properly, and we need someone who can help us out. So if you're interested in solving that interesting problem, you can apply. And also, you can make your own sort of job in the tech team. So you can also work on creative stuff. Previously, we've had people work on games, like interactive games, collaborative games. One cool game that we had at HackGT 5 was Snake, but everyone in the audience could play Snake together. So you could like submit up, down, left, right, and we would average out the responses and make the snake move in real time. Another game that we had, this is at Build GT, it is more electrical engineering related. Essentially, what we did was we randomly created these resistors with different color codes. And then if you've sort of done anything with the resistors, you know, there's a way to read the color code and give you the resistance. So we sort of made that a game, and people could collaboratively vote on the correct option and win points for the team. Another thing we introduced previous 2 years, or I guess last year and this year, is puzzles. So you can work on writing your own puzzle. Last year, one of the puzzles is like a full-on clone of Windows, what is happening? Okay, a full-on clone of like Windows from 98 to Windows 10, which is interesting. And this year we had like, I think one of the puzzles was you had to fool a neural network to think that an image was a donkey. I sort of gave the solution away, but it's fine. And yeah, there was another one that was really challenging. Talia wrote it. It was like a PDF. A lot of people were stumped on that. Like you download the PDF and try to sort of solve the puzzle. It's a cipher related puzzle, but you can work on that. Yeah. That's all.
For design, I think there are three main things that we're looking for a designer. You should be tenacious, creative, and detail-oriented. Tenacious meaning that even after the first iteration, you're willing to try things out and see if another design would work better and test it to see, you know, if it's better, whether that be soliciting feedback from other people, performing user research, or just, you know, looking at some, you know, responses from other people and how they've used a certain product. Second, creative. when you apply as a design team member, you will submit a portfolio. This does not have to be a formal portfolio like a website. It can be like just a Google Drive link with a bunch of different like pictures and photos of things that you made over the years. But we do want to see that you have some creative ability in whatever type of medium that you work in. And last but not least, detail oriented. We're looking for people who can understand the difference between 2 pixels and 20 pixels. If that's a pinkish hue or if that's a more reddish hue, right? We want to make sure that you are able to discern things and also make sure that you're able to communicate your preferences and the distinctions you're able to recognize visually to the rest of the team. So yeah, that's design team and what we're looking for.
So it is very close to the end of this panel. If you have any last questions you want to answer, we have 2 minutes, so no one? Okay, in that case. We want to thank you all for coming, and if you do want to apply to Hex Labs, remember, please do so. We want you to join. We want more new people. So no matter how confident or not confident you are in your skills, please just join anyway. Okay, apply. And so thank you to the online viewers as well. This panel is now going to be, it's done. And thank you to the panelists.